As wheat harvest approaches, the Farm News 5 team traveled to Gratiot County with Michigan State University wheat specialist Dennis Pennington to assess crop quality and potential yields.
What we're seeing out in the field is quite a lot of variability, not only across the state geographically in terms of what the crop condition looks like, but also variability within a field based on variability in soil types, because we've had quite a lot of rainfall that has impacted the wheat crop in some form or another. Some parts of the state have had a few rains right along and the wheat crop is still nice and green and looking good. And there's other parts of the state that it's very, very dry and the wheat has dried up prematurely. Those are going to have, reduced yield and perhaps even some quality problems when they come in there with the combine for harvest. In this particular field, you notice behind me some wheat that's looking a little bit taller, a little bit better looking wheat, probably greater yield potential and probably a little higher quality and test weight. Right in front of me here is some lighter textured soils, and this wheat right here burned up in the drought, and what happens is it dried down and kind of died prematurely before it had a chance to completely fill these grains out here, or the heads. And what happens in these cases a lot of times is what you get is a secondary infection called black sooty mold, which is what the black color that you're seeing on the heads and on the stems and on the leaves. While black sooty mold is not necessarily the problem, you will find it in areas that are problem areas in the field. And in this particular field, this area is kind of the gradation between some sandy soil and some a little bit heavier soil that was able to provide more moisture to the plant to grow. This leaves the farmer with some questions or issues like, how do I manage this for harvest compared to this if I got them in the same field? Segregate this out and try to sell it as feed wheat rather than as milling quality wheat. Take your best areas of the field and harvest those separately, and then sell those as milling wheat, so that way you'll get a much better price there than what you will for feed wheat.
Pennington offers some additional advice for growers with variable wheat fields.
Desiccation is an absolute no-no. This is a food crop. If you desiccate the wheat crop, it will be rejected at the elevator when you take it there. So do not desiccate the wheat. Let me repeat, do not desiccate wheat. The second option is where if you cut it off and windrow, they used to do that with dry beans. You cut the plants off, windrow them, and then they will dry down kind of like you're baling hay. The problem with that is if you get a rain when it's in the windrow, it's very difficult to get that dry, and you might actually increase your risk of harvest loss by having it in a windrow and you get a rain. Now, if you got lucky and could get it harvested before the rain came, then you might be okay. But I think you're better off leaving it standing in the field, because if you do get a rain, if it's standing, the crop will dry back out better than it will in a windrow. Most elevators have some programs to encourage early harvest. With the variability in the crop, you're going to have some crop that's at 18-20% moisture and some that's down 12-13. Get in there and harvest early, because many elevators have programs where they will actually pay the drying cost from 15 or 18% on down, and all you pay is just the shrinkage. So check with your local elevator where you're delivering your grain to, and see what programs they have available, and get out in the field and start harvesting as early as possible. That's one of the ways, or probably the best way, to deal with this variability that we have in the field this year.